had to have the house. It's our dream home.
This constant being in debt for the bills is really starting to hurt.
If you don't fix this problem, you won't be in this house in 2 years.
I used to make a lot more money. We're in trouble, and I'm taking down Kelly with me.
If we have to sell the house, I don't know if I'll be able to forgive her for not letting me know about this.
Money, 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 money.
My name is Dawn. I'm 30. I'm a massage therapist. I'm also a certified acupuncture practitioner.
My name is Kelly. I am 34, and I am a farmhand. I love working outdoors, and it could be upwards of 14 hours sweating in the dirt and dust.
He's a country boy, through and through.
I brought my wife to look at the house because it was back in the area I wanted to live, back into the country.
We completely fell in love with it, and we had to have the house.
This is it.
We worked really hard to come up with a down payment of $100,000.
We had to, borrow a little bit of money to get to that point. I said, there's enough room here that if you wanted to, you could work out of the home.
Kelly really thought it would be a great idea to build this space for me, but it's been hard since I've moved out here. My income looks like it's going to be about half of what I was making before.
She says it's not that bad.
I have a habit of keeping my purchases from Kelly. I promise not to buy any more furniture.
It would have been nice if you'd just taken those ones back when I suggested it.
We moved out here with the vision of us living and growing old in our forever home within the first month that we moved in. We started to notice problems with the house. There was leaking in the basement.
I didn't see this house as a fixer-upper, not thinking it was going to be a big deal. The eaves troughs need to be replaced. I have to fix the chimney. I have to insulate the basement, not realizing that we didn't have the money to buy the materials.
And our bills have skyrocketed. Property taxes, insurance, energy.
You can feel drafts around windows and plugs. When winter hit, this house was at 16 degrees all the time. We had a hydro bill come in a little over $700 for 1 month.
It's taking all of our income to pay for the bills, and then we're not left with anything to put into the house. I pay all the bills, so Kelly's not really 100% aware of how bad of a situation we're in.
Had we discussed things earlier on, I think it would not be quite as bad.
Our biggest risk is losing the house.
If we have to sell the house, I don't know if I'll be able to forgive her for not letting me know about this.
This month, I'll help this couple protect their #1 asset, their home. I've been solving money problems for over 20 years, tackling everything from high finance to low income. I help people understand money and debt and how to balance it all while keeping a roof over their heads. Kelly and Dawn could barely afford this house in the first place. Now their family income has dropped and they're feeling the squeeze. One winter revealed that the maintenance and utility bills are more than they bargained for. They don't realize there's a real danger of losing their dream home. I'm here to keep the castle from crumbling. Hi, I'm Gail Vaz-Oxlade.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Nice to meet you, Dawn.
Hi, I'm Kelly.
Nice to meet you, Kelly. If you don't mind, the first thing I'd like to do is just drop my bag and have a quick look around. There's 2,400 square feet of living space in this sprawling ranch home. Are those windows new?
No.
Are those windows drafty?
Yes.
Yes. Hey, some of this furniture's new, right?
Yes.
Wasn't this the one you told her to take back?
Yes, it was.
This was a 4-bedroom home before they added office space. So this is your new office space.
That was the garage, and then the 4th bedroom is the treatment room.
This office cost $10,000. $10,000 he didn't have. And below it all is a cavernous, half-finished basement. And there's no insulation anywhere, so it's freezing in the winter. For 2 people, this is an enormous home. And it's way more home than they can actually afford to pay for. It's a nice house you have here.
Well, thank you very much.
And it's way more expensive than you could actually afford. One of the biggest surprises for you were the utility costs, and you kept this house at 15 degrees Celsius. Are you going to do that again this year?
Well, hopefully we can get the basement properly insulated. And
Hopefully. What are you going to use for money?
We don't know.
So you go ahead and you move your practice from town out to the bush. How much is your income falling off?
I think about 50%. Yeah.
Are you not worried?
No, I don't think I'm worried enough.
Okay, you better get worried. Maybe you can't stay here. Maybe you have to sell this place. Because if you don't fix this problem, You won't be in this house in 2 years. You're in deep, deep doo-doo.
It's hitting home.
Okay? Because you really didn't think it was this bad. No. But you know it can be fixed.
I hope so.
I wouldn't be here if I couldn't help.
Yeah.
Right? So it can be fixed.
Now that I know it's going to be a lot worse than I think, he's going to be pretty upset.
How much do you owe, you as a family? How much do you owe, aside from your mortgage?
Probably a little over 40,000 to 50,000.
On top of your $395,000 mortgage, you owe $63,000.
Is that even possible?
To hear the number over 63,000 in debt already hit me like a ton of bricks.
And as for your debt repayment, you boggled my mind. You transfer $2,800 a month from your line of credit to pay off your credit card balances. But then you transfer $4,400 a month back to your line of credit because you're using your credit cards to pay off your line of credit. So you're showing debt repayment.
That's not going anywhere.
Which can't be true.
Yeah, I definitely got caught. I'm a credit shifter.
Dawn's using credit to pay credit, which means that while her accounts are all current, she's not making any progress on her bottom line. And part of the reason she can't pay her debt out of cash flow is because their housing costs are totally out of whack. You borrowed money for your down payment, so that actually belongs in housing. You're spending 60% of your income on this house. Like, how could you possibly have a life? My percentage is usually 35%. If you try to apply for the mortgage on this house right now, you would not qualify because your income has gone down so much. In fact, you're overspending by $6,512 every month. And if you keep it up, in 5 years, you'll be $1.2 million in debt, and the house will be gone. See, you feel like you want to cry now, Kelly. You will do anything I ask to get you out of this mess.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Over the next few weeks, I'm going to give you a series of challenges to do. You do the challenges to my satisfaction. I'll give you up to $5,000 to help deal with this debt. You don't do the challenges, don't get the money. You don't have the right attitude, you don't get the money. Okay? First of all, we're going to figure out if you can actually afford to live here. Then we're going to create a plan to get the debt gone. And we're going to have to do something about your income to make all of that work. So I need your debit cards and your credit cards because they're going bye-bye. Coming up, coping with cracks in the foundation.
We can't afford to get the renovations done.
I'm putting everything into this, and I don't know if you're doing the same.
Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
We wanted our dream home, so we went out and got it.
Dawn and Kelly moved out to the country
This is it. This is where we finish our days.
and into a house they couldn't afford. You're spending 60% of your income on this house. Like, how could you possibly have a life? Kelly was living on cloud 9 until the bills started rolling in.
Heating costs a little over $700 for 1 month.
Meanwhile, Dawn just continued to spend.
We're in trouble, and I'm taking down Kelly with me.
If we're going to corral their finances and save their home, they're going to have to live by my rules. For the next month, these homeowners will learn to live on a strict cash budget. No more credit cards. They'll complete weekly challenges to tackle their money and relationship issues. And if they're willing to change, I'll reward them with thousands of dollars to pay down their debt. No changes, no money. You're going to be living on cash. Debit cards and credit cards. I'm going to take these away. If you have these, I can't be sure you're using this. I'm going to cut your spending, your variable spending, by about 78%. Yeah. And here's how it shakes out. You now have $100 a week for food, transportation, $137 and change, $25 a week for entertainment. This is my favorite jar.
Clothing and gifts.
Compared to the $42.51 you spent in that 1 month on miscellaneous consumption, now you have nothing. And other, $20. So this is pet food, stuff like that, okay?
It's going to be a lifestyle change, definitely. I'm confident though that we can make this work.
Okay, it gets worse. You have to prove to me that you can actually afford to keep the house by doing up a budget that balances. has to be realistic. It has to be based on the income you're bringing in. Call your insurance company, call your communications company, do whatever you can to get those numbers down because you have to balance. Instead of just hoping things will get better, Kelly and Dawn will have to deal with the black and white of the numbers. Their budget must include money for savings, emergencies, and home maintenance. To make it work, they'll have to slash their spending.
And what happens if I increase our deductible? Does that bring my rate down?
And decide what they can just plain live without.
Sorry, you're not going to be able to have your junk food and cigarettes and beer. We're short $1,600 a month. We had to cut out a lot of parts of our life that we don't really want to cut out.
What are you cutting back on then?
Well, I'll cut swimming out, but we'll also have to cut your baseball and hockey.
It was a bit overwhelming, and we tried to make the numbers get smaller, and they just didn't get small enough.
I've also scheduled an energy audit for their home. It's a worthwhile exercise for any older home because it pinpoints exactly where to target your repair money. By upgrading their insulation to current standards and resealing windows and doors, they could save as much as 50% on their energy bill.
There was a hole the size of 2 meters by 2 meters if you combine all the drafty areas and the lack of insulation.
But right now, there's no money to pay for those fixes.
The basement's going to be the biggest cost. Everything's going out there.
To insulate the basement, we have to come up with the $7,500 ahead of time. And we can't afford to get the renovations done. I'm sorry, but I think we have to sell.
I'm not selling. I can't believe you didn't let me know we were going this far into it before we went into this. I feel like I'm putting everything into this, and I don't know if you're doing the same.
I'm willing to sacrifice in order to get our debt paid down, but after that, our housing costs are still too much.
I'm willing to miss out on some things to stay here.
I know. I don't want to leave either. We're never going to be as happy. We disagree about a lot of things, but we're both still going to try to figure out a way to keep the house.
You desperately don't want to leave this house.
We want to keep this house.
So much so that you have virtually eliminated everything that is fun from your life. So 1 minute, you're $1,600 over budget, and then out come the scissors, and you cut and you cut and you cut. And last night, I get a fax saying you're balanced.
Yeah, couldn't go to sleep without balancing.
While they balance their budget, their housing costs are high at 45%. With the repairs to be done, if something goes wrong, there's no room for maneuvering. I'll tell you what my concern is. You guys are so close to the edge. If either one of you were out of work for any period of time at all, the whole thing would come crashing down. So I want you to see what the options are. So you're going to go look at some other alternatives as living spaces. What you'll be looking at specifically this week is rental units. As part of looking at other places, I want you to realize what this house would be worth if you sold it. Would you even realize a profit? Would you take a loss on it? I want you to be informed.
I think that stung Dawn a little bit, and if it stings her, it stings me. So we just have to work through this.
Coming up, you can't take the country out of the boy.
He's just plain old miserable, angry, furious. We're just looking.
This intensifies my frustration.
Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
15 months ago, Kelly and Dawn bought their dream home.
This is where we finish our days.
But with less money coming in
My income looks like it's going to be about half.
and more house than they can afford to keep up with, Kelly and Dawn are definitely house poor.
I've got a million things I need to fix around here.
You're in deep, deep doo-doo.
It's hitting home.
Maybe you have to sell this place.
It's been more stress in the past month than we had in 7 years.
I'm challenging them to look at the numbers realistically,
Every month, we're going a little bit more into debt.
but it's hard to give up the dream.
We're not leaving.
This week's challenge is to consider renting. Looking at rentals back in the city is the last thing Kelly wants to do.
Even just the drive over here, Kelly was ready to explode. He's just plain old miserable, angry, furious.
But Dawn thinks it might be their only option.
I've come to terms with the fact that we can't afford to live here.
If we rented, it would be never yours. That money's just thrown out the window. I have bigger places in college.
Look at how small the kitchen is. is supposed to be a 4-bedroom.
4-bedroom.
Look at how small these bedrooms are. God, I feel like everything that I've worked for over the last 10 years has got me nowhere. The cost of living in this house is about $400 less than what we're paying to live on our own.
Without the responsibility of maintenance and smaller utility costs, Kelly and Dawn could get a lot of house for their money.
I like that, that's fun. $1,600 a month, actually, it's bigger than what I thought we would be able to afford on one income. I can't believe this is what we could afford if we rent.
Kelly's not convinced this is the best option.
I'm not interested in moving.
This just gives us an idea of what it would be like to live on 35% housing costs and still have room for life. Gazebo's nice.
I just get frustrated when I look at the backyard and I see all the houses. Some people, that's their thing, not me.
This might be something we have to look at realistically.
Part 2 of this week's challenge is to figure out where they would end up financially if they sold.
Assuming we sell this place at what we bought it at, automatically realtor costs,
You're gonna lose right off the bat. We're losing $25,000 just by selling the house.
lawyer costs,
And we still have to figure out the moving costs.
having to purchase a new car. For you, another $15,000 lost.
So far, there's $50,000 that we've lost. We're actually further behind than we were when we bought the house.
Yeah.
You looked at a place that was wonderful.
It was beautiful.
It was a nice house, yes.
With utilities, it came to $1,850 a month. When you did your numbers for me, your budgets, you said it would cost $25-36 a month to live in your house. But when I did your assessment, I find it's actually costing you $43.76 to live in your house. So you can't convince me that renting is the same as owning. You're letting emotion get way too into this. Even when it came to doing the assessment, whether it would be worthwhile selling the house, you actually thought you'd be in the hole. At the end of the sales process, you have $73,000 positive. Kelly and Dawn can manipulate the numbers any way they want. But the reality is that they're going to have to choose between selling and using the money to pay down their debt or digging a hole that's even deeper. Making more money is the only solution to this problem. So you're standing there thinking to yourself, what are we doing surrounded by a whole bunch of fire engines? Okay, these guys have benefits. These guys can afford to have a massage. You need to go and do face-to-face meet and greets to build your business. Going to anywhere where you know that there are benefits, so corporations that have big benefits, offer to give a presentation, offer to give a demonstration. You do whatever you have to do to build your business. Regardless, you always have the option of selling the house and you will be debt-free.
Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
Kelly and Dawn have overextended themselves on their country dream home. Make the budget balance or the house is gone. While they accomplished that challenge, their housing costs were still too high and left them almost nothing for everyday living. I don't know how long you can sustain having a house and no life. With Kelly already working long days, I can't ask him to do more. It's your turn.
I'm ready.
By completing all my challenges, they can earn up to $5,000 to pay down their debt. Kelly is so determined to keep their house, he's increased his work week to 60 hours.
That's what I will do, is work. I mean, try and make as much money as I can.
It's going to take its toll on him. He can't sustain it.
So it's even more important for Dawn to step up to the plate and revive her flagging business.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Her challenge is to do more sales calls to promote her practice.
What I've seen in the past with firefighters is a lot of low back strains, knee pain, tendonitis in the shoulder and elbow area. So those are all conditions that massage therapy would be beneficial for you to treat.
A tried and true method for boosting sales is to hand out free samples.
Did you find his spine in there?
Each new client could mean as much as $1,500 a year.
Here, I'm going to give you some of my business card.
Thank you.
I definitely need to double my income, bring it back to what I used to be at in order for our budget to work.
First of all, the list that you sent me of all the things you've accomplished, blew me away. You paid off a ton of debt just by busting your butt. You must be very proud.
I had a really good month.
Feels pretty good.
Yeah. One of your concerns is that no matter what you do, you can't get your housing costs to meet the 35% for the life pie. You get your debt all paid off. You have 15% more that you can now shove into housing. The increased marketing I've asked Dawn to do is paying off. As Dawn makes more, the percentage of their total income they spend on housing will quickly fall into line. If they stick to their debt repayment plan, in 2 years, they'll have plenty of money to enjoy their dream home. I have a lot of faith in you guys. You've stopped wasting money and started putting money where it needs to go.
Pretty touchy about having all the things I enjoyed, but it made a difference in our incomes and what we can put away.
When I got here, you were overspending to the tune of about $6,500 a month and headed to $1.2 million in debt. You are nowhere near that now. I think you're refocused and you're doing all the things that I have asked you to do. So, Kelly and Dawn, I am so proud of you. You deserve it all.
Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gail.
I know this is going to go a long way towards the big job you have to do in terms of insulating this house. Okay, I have some more news for you. A gift certificate that provides building supplies and the like, $200. That should help get you going.
It feels so much better to have the two of us working together on our finances instead of me handling everything.
2 months later, Dawn was able to sustain the increase in her business, and plans to insulate the basement are underway. Together, Kelly and Dawn now feel confident they'll be able to stay in the house they love.